Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. For my first video, I made this peyote and square stitch bracelet, and I did it in a few colors just to show you. Here's another one. Okay, and I did one in the blue, and then I did one in the gray. So you know where I'm going with this. I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to make a little pendant to go with that? So I thought, how would I go about this? Would I make a huge, a big one? And then I'm thinking, summer's coming. Let's make something very, very easy. So I'm going to just zoom in a little bit and show you what I came up with. So this is the design I came up with. It's based on a right angle weave, sort of a weird right angle. Very easy, very short amount of time. Let me try this one. You can vary the beads. We're using 6/0 seed beads for the whole thing, but what I've done is on the sides here where I put some 2 millimeters, you can put up to 4 millimeter and kind of push it in a little bit. We've got a little crystal at the top, and in between are O beads. So you can also switch it up and hang it differently. Just by hanging it this way, it's sort of like a diamond, and it sort of puffs a little bit. It's a little puffy, it curves a little bit. It's cushiony. It kind of looks like a cushion. And here's the last one. So you can vary the beads that you use. I mean, the base, I'll show you what the base is, and then as far as the rest of it, you can vary. You can add more beads on, or you can vary the beads you use. So it's really a fun little project. It's very fast, very fast. I'll show you exactly what you need, and you'll be really surprised. So you need maximum 5 bicones for the basic 4 millimeter bicones for the basic necklace. If you want to add on to it, you'll put more on. You need 12 size 6/0 seed beads, and I'm here using the Miyuki Seafoam Green. You need 2 little jump rings, and that's what you're going to use to attach it onto your rubber cord. Okay, or you can use a smaller one, or this is what I had at the moment, so I just used what I had. You'll need 2, but I put out a few more because you can barely see these things. Size 15/0 seed beads. You need a rubber cord. Now I ordered these from, I think it was Art Beads, and they weren't very expensive, maybe $3 to $4 a piece. Maybe there was a sale. Not expensive, but you can actually get the rubber cords at any craft store, or like a AC Moore or Michaels. They do carry them. This is a 2 millimeter rubber cord. Some of these are 16, some of these are 18 inches. So I think you can get all these supplies at the craft store, except the O beads. I think the O beads are going to be difficult to get, so you might have to order the O beads. Hopefully you have some in your stash. I'm not sure what we can use instead of the O beads. Maybe we can think about that. So that's all you're going to need. This is it. We need a stop bead. We need a size 10 English beading needle. And I've put on about 2 feet of thread. I think that's all you're going to need. If you have some left over, use it for what I always do, and I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video. I might have. If I have a piece that's 8 inches, 10 inches long left, I just keep it and I make little thumbnails. Things I play with the beads. That's how I came up with this. I was just playing with the beads the other night, and I thought, well, that would make, you might have some beads left from the bracelet if you made the bracelet, and you only need a few beads for this. And this is it's such a fast project. You can make it. I'd say you can make it in 15 minutes. Once you get started, and you can build on it. So why don't you get your materials ready, and we'll get started. Okay, so I've threaded about a foot and a half of, well, that's a little bit more than that, fireline onto my needle, and actually I'm going to take a little bit off of it, and I don't know if I told you in the beginning, but you'll need some sort of pliers to open your jump rings and close them. So what I'm going to do, what I've done is put my beads in little piles. So for the first it's based on right angle weave. So for the first one, we're going to do 4 6/0s and 4 O beads. So put on an O, a 6/0, an O, a 6/0, an O, a 6/0, an O, a 6/0, and an O. So we've got 4 of each bead. We've got 5, sorry, let me pull this one off. So we'll put that guy there. Okay, so we need 4 of each. So 4 O's, 4 6/0s. I'm going to bring that down. And I'm going to either tie it in a knot or sew through your beads. So I don't generally tie knots, but I think in this case, if you do tie knots, it will be nice and strong. I'm just going to sew through my beads holding my tail, and I'm going to pull through, and I'm going to turn it into a sort of a circle, like so. So it's going to look like so. Now, very important, if you tied a knot or not, sew through all the beads again. Really tight. Make this tight. You want this thing as tight as you can get it. So I'm going all the way around. I'm going to go past my tail. I'm going to go up through, so I've passed the tail, I've gone up through the O, the 6/0, I'm going to go up through another O and another 6/0. Then I'm going to pull this really tight. So just give it a yank, pull it tight, play with the beads a little bit. So this is what you have. So what you've got is 4 O beads and 4 6/0s, so that's a right angle, and weave. And you've got sort of, it looks like an X in the middle with O beads. So now we're going to take and add on, so our thread is coming out of this 6/0. We're going to add on an O, a 6/0, an O, a 6/0, an O, a 6/0, and an O. So you have 4 O's and 3 6/0s. So you have like a 6/0 sandwich. So there's an O at either end. So you've got 4 O's and 3 6/0s. We're going to come down through the bead we're coming out of, kind of chasing your thread, and we're going to add that on. Okay? Now it's loose, so sew completely around. I think I'm caught right here. Okay, so sew around, pulling, do a little bit more, pull, go through the top one, pull, let's go around again, let's get this really tight, attach these guys really well, there, you can move it around a little bit, just so, to get where it's comfortable for you to sew. And then we're going to come up. Did I go through my go through, come up, and pull really tight. Just pull it in a little bit and get those beads tight. Okay? So this is what you have. Alright? It's going to straighten out. So I want you to go up this O and out this top 6/0. And pull. Give it a little yank, sort of push your beads together a little bit, and this is what you should have. So you're coming out of the top of this unit, right there, see? We're going to take an O, a 6/0, an O, whoops, an O, a 6/0, an O, a 6/0, and an O. So again, we have a 6/0 sandwich with an O at either end and 2 O's in between the 3 in the middle. So altogether, so you've got 4 O's and 3 6/0s. Make sure the O's are at either end. So we're going to come around and go through the bead we just came out of. Okay, this is what you should have, just like that. So now sew back through the unit. Oops, I sewed the wrong way, so I'm going to go through again. Should be going this way. So sew back through your unit. Get a little knot before I make it into a big knot. Let's see if I can get it out of there. Okay, I'm going to open it up a little bit, and I see my threads coming through here. I'm going to bring it through, make it worse. Let's see if we can get this. Let's work on this because knots happen. So I'm going to go back through here, and then I'm going to go back through. Is that where I'm coming out of? Yes. Back through here. Okay, so I've fixed my knot, and I hope that was educational because knots are going to happen. So keep sewing through. And sometimes you can get them out, and so, you know, if you just relax and do it very slowly and you know, take your time, and all your knots, you know, pretty much you can get out of any knot. Sometimes it just happens that you can't, and you just, you know, just cut that thing off, especially if it's a small project. Okay, so this is what you have. So I want you to come out of this. So if I hold it this way, you'll see the right angle unit. So I want you to come out of this top bead, okay? So I'm going to hold it this way. So my units are, there's 1, 2, 3. Okay? So this is where we're going to change things up just a teeny bit. So we're going to take an O, a 6-0, an O, a 6-0, and an O. We're going to, instead of going around this, we're going to go through the bead that's on the top, above the one we're coming out of. So like so. Alright, and before you sew around, you can add one little O and go through the bottom bead, this bead. So you're coming out of the top of you're coming out of this bead, you want to go through this bead. There we go. Oops. Get the tail out of the way and come through. Okay? So this is what you have. That's it. That's the base of the project. Now sew around. So now I'm going to sew around this unit. I want it tight. So sew up the O and the 6-0. 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 Okay, I want you to continue around one more time to that, go through the O and the 6-0, the O and the 6-0, and stop here. So here's our little unit, and at this point, this is when I first made it, and I thought, isn't that pretty? That's kind of like a little pretty little cross. You could put a chain or a rubber cord on that, and that would be pretty just on its own. And it's very simple, but it's still pretty. You know, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple, but beautiful. So let's embellish. So here I have some O's and some Swarovski 4mm bicones. So I'm going to take an O, a bicone, and an O. I'm coming out of this 6-0. I'm going to go through the next 6-0 and pull. and that fits in there pretty nicely. It's going to make it cushion out a little bit. You can use the smaller beads. You can use a 3mm or 2.5, but you know, it's your choice. It won't puff out as much, but you know, I kind of like it puffy. So I'm going to take another O, another bicone, and another O. I'm going to I'm coming out of this bead. I'm going to go right into the next 6O and pull. So you see how it's filling in? I'm going to just slip my needle through to the next 6O. Do the same thing again. O, 4mm crystal, and O. Go from this 6O to this 6O. Pull. That fits right into place. Okay, you know where we're going next. We're going to slide up through the 6O and the O and the 6O. We're going to take an O, a 4mm crystal, and excuse me, my last O is over here. It was over there, the front of my mat. We're going to go through. We're going to pull. Okay, one thing I'm going to do right now, because it's bugging me, is I'm just going to cut the tail off. Okay. So this is what you have. This is your unit. Here it is square. Here it is like a diamond. Cute. Simple. You can make lots of these and make a bracelet. You can put some seed beads here and an earring hook and make earrings. So there are a lot of different things that you can do with this. With this unit, you can add on to the unit. You know, you can just keep going. You can add anything you want. This is just the basic unit. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to add one more bead, but first we're going to reinforce a little bit. We're going to sew around. I just want to tighten it up a teeny bit. So I'm just going to sew through the outside beads. And you can do the same. Just sew up through them and just pull. Okay. I'm going to pull my tail down a little bit so I have some more thread. I'm going to come around again. So I'm just going around in circles. You can tie some knots. You can go through here, come out between a 6O and an O, tie a little half hitch knot over there. Make sure you don't get caught on a bead. Make it go through like so, and then continue sewing through, and come out this 6O before the crystal. Okay, and I want you to just sort of hop through this O. Okay, so you come out of this 6O, hop through the O and the 6O, going towards the middle of your project. We're going to add a little crystal there. Okay, so now this is what you have. You've got your thread coming out of that center, the top center 6O. Here's where those little 15Os come in. Take a 15O. You might be able to use an 11O. You can try it. I'm using 15s. And so here I've done a 15, a 4mm. I'm losing that a little bit. And a 15. And I'm going to go through the bottom one. So right directly across, I'm going to put that crystal in. So it's going right across from one end to the other. If it tends to sink in a little bit, play with it a little bit. Maybe use the bigger beads. I kind of like the way the 15Os work. So you're coming out of the bottom, So let's just sort of turn our work a little bit so we can get to it. And let's go through, let's see, we'll go through this 15-0. So we just want to get back to the top, or whatever it takes to get back to the top. And I think this is the easiest route. And then it sort of solidifies the center. Okay, so I'm going to go through the O, the 4mm and the O. I'm going to go through this 6-0, and I'm going to go through the O. It's getting tight. Actually, I think I'll tie a knot right here. So I'm just going through the back, through the front, tying a little half hitch knot. I'm just going to go through a couple of beads, and I'm going to call mine a day. Excuse me. So here we go. Here's your pendant. You can hold it this way. And it kind of puffs a little bit. You can hold it as a square. So at this point, I'm going to cut off my thread or burn it off. I usually use a thread burner, but in this case I'm just going to cut it off. And there you have it. That's what it looks like. So it looks like square. Now we're going to put a couple of jump rings on it. Now you can do it this way, or you can do it this way. I've been enjoying doing it square. So I'm going to put it down on my mat, and I'm going to try to get close so I can do this on my mat. See if it clears up. Yes. Okay. I do apologize for how blurry my camera gets. I need a new camera. Okay, my camera battery died, so as I was doing this, so I'm going to record the last bit again. So I've got one jump ring on it, and I'll show you how to put the other one on. So I'm making mine a square. So I've taken a jump ring, I've opened it up. Okay, these are 8mm jump rings. I'm going to put it through anywhere on the top. Mine is going through between the 8-0 and the O. Oops. Let's get that back on there. Okay, so it's a little clumsy. I'm going to hold that like so. I'm going to grab my other pliers, and I'm going to try very hard in my limited space here to click these together. Okay, that one's not quite perfect, but we can probably just get a little pull there. Okay, so then so you've got your 2 rings. So I'm going to pull this through. I honestly was recording this and my battery died, and I didn't even realize it until it just shut down. So you've got your 2 jump rings on. Go through. These are 8mm jump rings, so they're going to make it. The 2mm cord will make it through with this little lobster claw. So I'm putting it through. I'm going to take my pliers out of the way. And here you have it. I'll hold it up. You've got your cute little pendant. You can make this for your daughter. You can make it for a friend. I'm going to wear it, and I have grown children. I just think it's so pretty. It looks great with the bracelet. You don't have to wear it with the bracelet, but it looks really pretty with the bracelet, and it's not overdone. It's not like you're too matchy-matchy, and you've got too much of the same jewelry on. I think that's really pretty. I'm thinking ankle bracelet one of these days. Who knows? We've got a lot of projects to go through, so that's this is the one. The way I like to wear it, you can do it, as I said, in the sort of the diamond shape. Looks like a little cushion. Trying to get it real clear for you. Come on, clear up. Okay. All right. Here's the square shape, which I like a lot. See that? Let's clear my camera up a little bit. All right. And just because I'm into the rubber cords right now, This is a little pendant that I made with a Russian leaf. I've put a drop in the middle and I've peyoteed it onto a rubber cord. So this is something that we'll make, and this is really pretty and doesn't take many beads at all. Once you learn the Russian leaf, I went to many sources to learn this leaf, and there are, I've combined them all to make it, the way it's easiest for me. You just have to keep practicing it. So, and then you can just do this little peyote. I've taken the seed beads, the color of the seed beads on the side, and I put them through the peyote stitch. Here it is on the back. So it's all peyoteed in. So that's something we'll work on. We've got a whole lot of projects to work on, a lot of crystal projects, but right now these rubber cords, and also one other thing about the rubber cords, they're latex free. Now I have a latex allergy, so I would not be handling this if I had, if it wasn't latex free. They guarantee it's latex free on the website. They also, which I think is great if you want to sell these, the rubber cords come in these little packages, these little plastic packages with a tarnish paper in it. So you just take your piece, okay, open the bag. You can even use the bag that they send it in, because they send each one in a separate bag, which I think is great. So put it in the bag, like so, and here you go. You can sell that at any craft fair if you want to sell, or give it to a friend or whatever, but you have this little piece of silver tarnish paper because the clasp is sterling silver. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned from some of the mistakes I made, and I hope you leave lots of comments, lots of constructive criticism, and I will definitely see you on the next video.